guys, Lucas Rogers speaking from the Rogers Property Group. As you're all aware, the RBA met on the first Tuesday of this month in May and decided that interest rates were going to stay on hold, which is great news for everybody. I've had some questions as to how inflation and interest rates are aligned and how they intermix and how one controls the other. And I'll quickly go through that this afternoon. So what happens is inflation is really based on, it's a percentage figure, and it's based on how fast goods are going upwards in value. So if inflation rate was at 10%, then we can anticipate that goods that are at $100 this year, well, next year they're going to cost $110, okay? So we're hoping that inflation doesn't get to 10%. Now, the RBA's guidelines, so the Reserve Bank's guidelines for inflation are between 2 and 3%, okay? Now, what's happening at the moment, inflation is outside of those guidelines. Inflation's running at about 3.8%. So the RBA are determined to get it back between 2 and 3%. The way that they do that is they use interest rates as a rudder to be able to push inflation around. Obviously, if inflation's going up, what they do is they raise interest rates, and it creates less of a demand for products and services and so forth, because they're more expensive, because people have got to pay interest to get them. Now, the problem with controlling interest rates, or beg your pardon, controlling inflation through interest rates, is that not everybody is subject to interest. It really only hits those people who have debts in some form of, maybe a home loan, investment loans, that sort of thing. So for all those people out there who are renting and just spending their paychecks week to week, well, inflation really doesn't, interest rates, I should say, don't really affect them too much. So it's very hard to control that part of the sector. But the RBA does their best to reduce inflation via interest rates, and that's how they do it. With inflation being at 3.8% this month, well, what they've decided is to keep interest rates on hold. If we do see inflation jump up and it goes above 4% on an annualized basis, then we may be in for another rate increase. But most experts, most forecasters are saying that sometime towards the end of this year, sometime next year, we should see inflation drop to between the 2 and 3% guidelines that the RBA are hoping, and then we can see some interest rate decreases. But I think people need to remember that on long-term averages, interest rates are about where they are at the moment. So for those people waiting to get into the market, buy an investment property and thinking, oh, well, we're going to wait till interest rates drop, I wouldn't recommend that. I would really get in as soon as you possibly can, because interest rates going up, down, sideways, there's always markets that are increasing. Look at the Queensland market, look at the Perth market. They're anticipating the Perth market is going to show 20% capital growth increase in 2024, and those numbers based on first quarter analytics, it looks like it's liable to happen. So get in as soon as you can, guys. Don't let interest rates affect you too much, as long as you can get the borrowing capacity to be able to do that. And focus on, with your investments, focus on how to get your cash flow up so that it can support higher than average interest rates. Guys, if you have any questions, look, like and subscribe to our Facebook page, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you've got any questions, please get in touch with us at the office. Love to have a chat with you. Take care, guys.